Hi everyone, my name's Clint Isley. I'm 35 years old, and at the 4 years of age I had a Fontan procedure conducted, and I'm still here. This is the second of 5 videos that I'll be doing. The first one was on childhood, and that's online now on YouTube and shared on Facebook as well. If you haven't seen it and if you find it to be relevant to yourselves, or perhaps children of yours, or family or friends who do have a Fontan condition and they're little kiddies, be sure to screen in on that one. I have had a few comments on Facebook too, which is really good. Feel free to keep commenting. I'm happy to answer questions online if you need to. But of course, I've got a series of questions that were already asked of me at the start of this process, and like I promised all of you, I'll be answering every single question that was delivered to me. So the second video is this. It is exercise and managing sport involvement. So that is the crux of why I'm speaking as well. It's incredibly important for kids with these conditions or similar conditions to mine, where in my opinion they need to be active. I was very active as a kid. I grew up on a farm. We didn't have horses, but we had motorbikes. But before I could ride a motorbike, I would run around rounding up the sheep and the cows and so on. And I was really active in that regard, and just running. And Mum made it a real point to make sure that I was active. And I did touch on that in the first video, where if you want your children to be active, this isn't not necessarily just based on kids with conditions. It's vital for any child to be active. And I've said it before, that this generation's got a problem with screen time. But anyway, I'm digressing there. But so the first question of this exercise segment is, how important to your life and health has exercise been? Well, I'm pretty much answering that right now, aren't I? It was really important for me physically and mentally. A lot of my friends were playing sport and I just wanted to be involved, whereas the doctors were saying to Mum and then later in life to me that no, you can't play contact sport because you're on warfarin. And yes, okay, and I know a lot of cardiologists will be doing this before I answer this, but personally I think that's crap. You need to be aware of what you've got and be cautious, and I did take precautions in football, as I said in the first video briefly, and again, I didn't do much for my social status in school, but I did wear a helmet and like a soft padded helmet during playing Aussie rules, and that was the compromise that I found with Mum. And I don't think we even told the doctors, to be honest, because you can't stop kids being kids. And that's the biggest thing. If you wrap them up in cotton wool, which is a term I see used a lot with a lot of medical professions about Fontan people, or Fontanis, as I'm going to call all of us from now on, that's going to take off, Fontanis. If you do that, what you're doing is inciting them to be victims in a way, mentally, throughout life. And my mum just didn't take that as an answer, and nor did I. So how important has it been to me? Really important. It had to be. I grew up in a town with sports. My mates played sports. I played a lot of basketball, and I did pretty well at it. In the end, in my mid-20s, I was playing for Division 1s in Sydney, which was, who cares, but it was a couple of leagues just under the NBL. I wasn't good enough to get there, and I think I was too old anyway. My coordination wasn't the best. It was all right. But in terms of keeping up with the players, I kept it fine. I mean, everyone was exhausted. So I don't know what it's like to feel normal, but to me, I made sure that I kept up. And if actually, I don't think I ever felt lightheaded or anything, just through pure exhaustion of giving it everything I absolutely had. I hit the bench a couple of times, of course, but so did everyone else. So it's most certainly been strong. In our family was full of sports people as well, and so most certainly for me. So I guess the next question, moving on, is, did living with a Fontan limit you in any way with the sports that you participated in? And look, that's a very good question, and I don't know who you all are. answering that, no, it didn't. And a lot of it's attitude. Again, just be aware of what you have or your child has or friends' children or whomever. Just be aware of it. The one sport that I really wanted to play, but I was really cautious, and I think generally you need to be cautious, was rugby. And a very good mate of mine, actually a few good mates of mine, played excellent rugby, excellent footy. They were really good and they wanted me to play, and I nearly did. I nearly went around everyone like behind mum's back, and and even the coach at school for rugby was like, you need to join rugby because I could tackle. But I just didn't push the point. I already played basketball, golf, AFL for one season, wasn't very good at it, but I still did it. And the reason why I wasn't very good at it, because I'm pretty much the height of a hobbit. So you need to be a bit taller than that. It's a long walk to Mordor sometimes. And anything I get my hands on, I played, but rugby. So I guess I was happy to entertain every other sport and get into it, but yeah, when you're running directly at people with your head, that's to the point where maybe I wouldn't do that. So, next question. There's only 5 questions here, and I don't want to rush through them, of course, but I'd like to answer them as clearly as I can. But you clearly had an active lifestyle on a farm with the range of contact sport you've played. What did you disclose about your condition to school and sport coaches? Yeah, and that absolutely great question, and I did disclose. Of course, we had to. The school knew about the condition. Mum was obviously making them aware. I was making them aware. My friends were aware, as I've spoke to you in the first video. And so what did I say? Well, I just had to tell them what I had. And it was measurable. If they could see me struggling, which they never did, they'd probably keep an extra eye. I most certainly didn't tell any fibs. I definitely told people that what I had was what I had, but I most certainly didn't tell them, but intimated in a way to them that, look, don't treat me any differently, but just be aware of it. So yeah, I didn't want to be treated any differently, particularly as a kid with my mates, because I already felt different. I didn't want to, feel completely like the purple elephant in the room or anything like that. So yeah, and even moving on in professional life, in work, my workplace needs to know what I've got, for insurance reasons, but also to make sure that they're aware of what I've got. So I don't know, I guess I disclosed it casually, and we just took it from there. Yeah. So next question is, what level and capacity did you manage to participate compared to your peers and teammates? Put another way, did you have much cardiovascular aerobic fitness, or did you take more breaks or shorter playing spells than others? I don't know if I could even measure that in terms of shorter breaks. In terms of others, like I said before, I hit the bench a couple of times, probably maximum 3 or 4 times during a basketball game, and that's a pretty hard game, and that is cardiovascular and very aerobic. I don't believe I was slower than anyone else. The only thing that really held me back was my height. So I used my lack of height to my advantage and would find different ways around my opponents. So I would duck under them and pop up for a layup without them expecting it, or just being a little bit more cunning. And again, that in terms of mentally, because with Fontanis, we are we're not the biggest people around. We're not tall, from what I can understand. That's what I've been told. I haven't met many of you, so I really had to adapt to my environment. But no, I don't think I rested any more than the next player. Look, I probably did in AFL, because AFL's Aussie rules. It's a different league. It is full on. But again, being shorter, and the little legs couldn't keep up as much as the bigger guys. So yeah, it's definitely had a great reaction to me when I was a kid, and still do today. I need to hit the treadmill more, but I can run a few kilometres. Next question is, were you on it? Okay, I think this is a bit. Sorry. Were you on any anticoagulation medicines? Example, warfarin. If so, did you bruise badly from contact sports? And yes, I'm still on warfarin. I take around 7 milligrams a day. And no, I didn't bruise easily at all. Now, I will just say right now, and people will cringe at this, particularly maybe Rachel Cordina, my cardiologist, I have been knocked out cold through contact, I'd say 5 or 6 times. It was once in Aussie rules, out cold. I remember I ran into a door. Sounds ridiculous, but I was playing chasey through the school in primary school, and for whatever reason I wasn't looking where I was going and I was out cold. I was involved in a few altercations as a younger teenager, which I probably shouldn't have been, and I was out cold. It didn't really affect me any differently from a normal person. Yeah, I had a few bruises from it, but they went down as normally as any other person would. Yeah, so look, I've been involved in all sorts of physical activity where I've been battered and bruised. I worked a million years ago, but I worked in an abattoir, actually. That was my first job, and my job was to herd goats, and they're pretty big goats with big long horns, and every day was an absolute beating to me because I was the only one in there trying to herd them in a little pen. And I always came out with blood and bruises and so on and so forth, but that was just part of the job, unfortunately. But I rebounded, in my opinion, as normally as anyone would. And I didn't really, not that I really focus on anyone else's bruising, but I guess now, later in life, if I strike this corner of a table, which we all do in the office, yeah, there's a bruise there, and it probably lingers a little bit longer now. I think what I have noticed, actually, coming to mind, working in retail for, isn't this funny, working in retail but not being bruised and battered, but let's say 20 years, I have varicose veins on my ankles. And is that due to me standing up all day? Well, probably, and it may have something to do with warfarin. So look, that's a part of it, but I don't really have any other bruises or anything to report. Again, if you are on warfarin, or if your children are on warfarin, on any sort of anticoagulant, I'm not saying go in headstrong and she'll be right. You need to be aware of it, but it is a risk, for sure. Just try not to overanalyze it. I've been watching a few videos of Question Time to the experts of Fontan, and there's a lot of questions of overanalyzation and saturation levels and so on and so forth, and try not to think about it too much. Don't try and reinvent the wheel with this. Just let yourself believe in yourself, or believe in the kids to be a kid, and they'll be okay, and you'll be all right. Know your limits, know their limits, but don't limit them. That's the key. So look, sorry, I'm going in tangents here, but no, I didn't bruise any differently, I don't think. I was just being aware of what I had. So look, it's a pretty short video, this one. I appreciate the time. I guess in terms of sport management, in the end, and I've said it before, don't stop. I mean, I used to run when I was really fit, and I was 26-ish. I think I met Rachel Cordina, the cardiologist, who I'm working with then, and we did a fitness regime or exercise and testing. I was running on average between 6 to 10 kilometres a day. Okay. I have put on a bit of weight now. Unfortunately, I need to drop 5 or 6 kgs, which I'm working on. But at that stage, I was at running weight of, I'd say 68, between 65 to 68 kilos. I was surfing, or professional floating really. I wasn't that good at it, but there's a lot of paddling involved. I did weights. I went to the gym as well. So I was in the gym 3 times a night, pushing it to extreme, and then running. And I made sure I ran a lot. And I'll be honest, I wasn't watching my diet, or I was a bit of a party boy as well. So I did push the limits there, but I was fit. And I believe I'm still fit now. I just need to go for more of a run. This is what happens when you become parents and careers and so on. So no, don't worry so much. I guess if you are in that point where you need to go for a walk, and if you go 2 more steps than you did the day before, that's awesome. That's really good. You know, if you feel you're just walking the same, but you're consistently doing it, and this is what everyone is saying to us in terms of cardiologists, get out and get active. That's important. Go for walks. Don't overdo it. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to be an athlete. And this is any advice for anybody who is, if you want to call them normal or what have you. You don't need a heart condition to go and exercise or prompt you to do so. Everyone should be doing it anyway. It's 30 minutes a day or something or other, or 10,000 steps, and maybe buy one of these. This is fantastic. If you need a smartwatch, get one. It will keep you on point and keep you pretty accountable. So yeah, that's what I have at this stage. If you have any further questions about this video, feel free to post anything underneath. Be positive. It's all about here first. Get out of bed. Make sure that you make a decision to get active. That's what it's about. And then your body will just rebound. It will follow through. Okay? All right. Thanks very much, everyone. That's video 2, and that was exercise and managing sport involvement. The next one will be health system access to medical care, which is a great topic again, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Thanks very much. See you later.